Hailong is a bridge between, in this instance, the Canadian culture and the Chinese culture. I believe that the more we learn about each other's culture, the more we'll embrace each other and the less we'll hate each other. I actually had been looking for a Chinese junk ship for many years of my life, and I always thought that it'd be wonderful to own one. So in 2015, I bought a Chinese junk, but it wasn't a real Chinese junk. And I decided that I would bring this boat to Prince Edward Island, where I had moved to. So I went right across Canada pulling this boat with this old truck. People thought it was very interesting to see this beautiful boat on the back of this trailer, and they talked to me a lot along the way. CBC heard about what I was doing, and they contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in doing a story. And when I arrived in PEI, I got a notification from somebody that, how would you like to own a real Chinese junk? Because they'd heard the story on CBC, and it turned out that the only authentic Chinese junk in Canada was in Nova Scotia, near PEI, and I went down to see it, to see if it was real. And I went into this very drafty, very dark boat storage building, and in the very back of the building, I saw it in the distance, and I knew that it was a real Chinese junk. And as I got closer, I became very excited, and I walked up the ladder to go up onto the boat, and as soon as I put my foot on the deck, I knew I had to have this boat. This is a real, authentic vessel, a Chinese junk sailing ship, and I absolutely had to have it. It's amazing how the linseed oil brings out the character in the wood. A lot of people might have thought that was a piece of wood that should be discarded, not to be used, but I think it's telling us a story about its own life, just like we like to tell stories about our life. So much of this bus comes alive for me when I work on it, just like my boat. I think these aren't inanimate objects. These are things that speak out to us. And I enjoy the conversation. Look at that. It's beautiful. At the time that I bought Hailong, I had started a relationship with a beautiful Chinese woman, my Lao Po.
Yes.
And Hailong came in to my life the same way that our little girl Dominica did, as like a child, like a member of the family. I've never thought of the boat as an asset or a vehicle or a boat or a vessel in the normal sense of ownership. Hailong has a real aura to it, a real glow, and it feels almost human. This boat, it's
Our daughter.
Our daughter, yeah. So we have actually 3 daughters in total. So we're a lucky family. Okay, well, here we are. We're shoving off from Montague Marina, heading to Charlottetown on our first major trip with it. We've done. The biggest happiness moment was when we actually put the boat in the water, and I was unsure of what would happen that day. These boats are delicate. All wooden boats are delicate and must be treated very, very gently and treated kindly, because they can sink if you're not careful. They can go right to the bottom of the water.
I have just added one happiness time. It's like our family together, like working together like a team, including our daughter on the boat
and our volunteers.
Yeah, volunteers. So it's like team together to let more people to know the Chinese culture. That I think is the most happiness time.
The best things in life are not the things that you buy. They're the things that you create. I believe that. My father taught me that. I believe it. I believe Hailong has a very interesting and dynamic future. We will be conducting our tours as we did before, out this time, of course, on this coast, not the East Coast. And on top of that, we have other ideas and we have other opportunities here on the West Coast that didn't exist in Prince Edward Island. For example, we are able to operate Hai Long as like a museum where people can actually just board the vessel, learn about Chinese culture, and then get off the boat without having actually gone on a tour.
We have another feature. It's like we will, for song, as my always I'm thinking, maybe we will to write the book about the boat history and our life and how this Canadian guy loved the Chinese culture so much.
The story will just turn a page to a new chapter.